and welcome to the November edition of Boardman Outlook. I'm Brittany Bailing, and here with me is Tom Costello, Brad Calhoun, and Larry Moliterno. Gentlemen.
Okay, welcome to the November edition of Boardman Outlook. We've had a busy month, as usual, but today is the day after election, and I'm sure everyone's pretty happy about the robocalls stopping, the campaign literature stopping, pretty much everything about the campaign. So, Larry, I'm sure you had enough of that stuff.
I had so many phone calls at home this past election season. I'm glad it's over, and I'm also glad that the people in Boardman also stepped up and supported the school system again, which is again critical to Boardman being the kind of community that we are and having the quality of life that we have here is to support the township, support the schools, support the park, and we're moving in the right direction.
I think there's an overall sense that the schools, the park, the township, everyone's working on the same page here, and you know, I think that's the key right now. And if everyone sees this working together, it's helpful.
I like their theme. It was keep Boardman excellent, and it is. It's the schools, it's the township, it's the park. It's all three working together in the best interest of our community.
And I know we've talked to the school board members also, and I think they share the same understanding that we do, that the first step is to get the people in the community to support these levies, but most importantly is that I think we have a committed group of trustees and a committed school board that we're going to be good stewards of the money and that we're going to stretch these dollars out as far as we can.
Right, and we want to make sure we offer congratulations to all the winners out there, and really, and everybody that they did not win, we really want to thank them for putting themselves out there because it is a monumental task to run for office. So, winners and losers, congratulations, and to all those winners, don't forget Boardman Township.
Right.
So we'll get right at it. One of the biggest things going on in Boardman now is, well, I think most of the leaves have fallen, but our LEAF program is up and running. It started October 29th. It'll run through November 30th. And there's going to be a short period of time, 19th through the 23rd, around Thanksgiving. Then
Thanksgiving week.
They're going to suspend the pickup. And they've been doing this, the LEAF pickup. I'm not sure, Tom, you got some history on that?
Oh, it goes back at least 15 years. And further back than that, we used to have the equipment and the manpower. People would rake it out to the curb and the township would come and pick it up. Township hasn't had that equipment in several years, so now we work with the green team to do what we do now, and they help us with funding for the 4-week collection period.
And basically, the green team, they provide us a grant, and we go out and rent a trash truck.
That's correct. And I emphasize, all of those leaves are recycled. So people will worry they're going into a landfill somewhere. No, they all end up into a recycling.
We have a couple local businesses, I think, that take these leaves in, and then they make what they need to resell and provide it back into the environment. Terrace Motel, I know Larry, that's one of our big things here, and we got a little bit of information here in the last week or so, so I'll let you talk about the Terrace Motel a little bit.
Well, I think the Terrace Motel is an example of one of these facilities that has been allowed to get out of repair, get into disrepair, and I think that it's becoming a blight on Market Street, and it was something that we recognizing that we're not going to let these kind of properties get out of control, that we want to take care of them, we want to flatten them, we want to plant some green space, and we want to allow other investors to maybe come in here and start over again with those properties. Along with doing it with some of the homes in the community, we're also looking at the Terrace Motel, and it was a grant that we were able to receive with the cooperation of the county commissioners, and we're really thankful for. Unfortunately, sometimes we get real excited because we got the grant and we're waiting for when's the demolition going to start. There's a process involved, and I know that we're working diligently to speed that process up as fast as we can. But the bottom line of this is between bidding out for demolitions and getting inspections and all those kinds of things, we should expect to see that building coming down sometime early spring of 2013. So we're real excited about that.
Good, and I know, Tom, that was a big issue in your first term.
Yes.
And it's finally happening.
Yeah, we actually boarded that hotel up. I want to say it was in 2004. That hotel was, and it's been boarded up ever since. And it has become more of an eyesore ever since. So I'm just so thrilled that the three of us working together with the county commissioners secured the CDBG block grant money that will allow us to bring that facility down and improve that whole neighborhood and improve coming into Boardman. You don't have that blighted areas jumping out at you.
I know Anna Mamone, this has been one of her targeted areas that we've instructed her to make sure that this project gets done. And she's been working diligently. She gave us a packet last week of the pictures inside because they finally were able to get inside because some of the doors just were not locked anymore, and so they got in there, and it looked like some animals. It really had a field day in that some of those rooms.
They had made their home there.
The other thing I think is interesting about this is that it shows that the 2016 plan is so crucial because we are looking long-term. We're not just reacting to things as they happen. So we knew we wanted to take care of this terrace motel so that when there became opportunities like grants, we were ready to jump on that and take advantage of those when they come up. And I think that's why it's important for us to always be looking 5 years ahead as to what we want to do with the township so that we can take advantage of these kinds of opportunities.
And one of the big things was with regard to thinking ahead is that we were able to put away some money. The Attorney General came up with some money as well for some demolition of homes, residents, and that have fallen into disrepair. And we were, thinking about this grant as we heard the rumors that it might come to, to some point where they might give us some money. And we put away a little bit of money, and we were able to match $100,000 to their $100,000. And I believe we got 4 or 5 homes identified. The paperwork's done. Everything's ready to go. It's just a matter of now waiting for the money, putting the bids out, and hopefully you'll start seeing some of these neighborhood homes being torn down, and either neighbors wanting to buy the land and or someone coming in and saying, hey, I'd like to build on that land now that it's empty and that that house is gone. But we've identified probably about 21, 22 homes, and that money then gets put back on the tax bill. So it might be a fund that we will have now to continue to take down homes as they deteriorate. And we really certainly don't want to ever get in a situation where some communities are just tearing down, hundreds and hundreds of homes.
Right. Well, and that's why it's so important that Anna Mamone and our zoning department works so diligently to keep maintaining. If there's a problem, there's an issue in your neighborhood, call zoning and 726-4181. Let them know there's an issue out there. All phone calls are anonymous. They'll go out and inspect it. If there's a problem, they'll work towards getting it corrected.
And it can, really can be anything from long grass, someone not taking care of the leaves, weeds, to, the siding falling off and gutters, hanging down off the side of the house. Kind of, I guess, a segue into disasters. We had that Hurricane Sandy, and our fire chief actually belongs to an Ohio disaster team. I'm sure there's a acronym of some sort for it. But he is one of the leaders of the Ohio division, the team. And they were sent to New York, and he's been deployed there. I believe the deployment's for about 2 weeks.
Yes.
Unless they see that they need to continue it. So it's kind of a great honor that our fire chief is one of the active leaders in the state of Ohio in this. And what he's really going to bring back is that if we ever have any type of disaster, he's able to communicate, with other people and bring in the resources that might be able to help Boardman.
I agree, and he's been sending us reports, and but we're really proud of the fact that Boardman's participating in this.
Right. All right. We had we're always talking about our August 2011 police levy. We have a police officer that just retired. Soon will be retired, November 30th, Mike Mullins in the patrol division. Mm-hmm. So we will be replacing him. But if you remember in the August 2011 levy, we promised 10 additional officers. Now with this retirement, we're going to have to bring in 11.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the goal is we're going to swear in 2 more officers, or actually interview, I believe. Mm-hmm. We just swore in 2. We're going to interview 3 more officers. The first screening's next week. They'll come to us in probably about 2 weeks. And if everything goes well in those interviews, we'll hire 3 more officers. And then that will bring us to 11 officers hired. The 10 that we promised in the 2011 levy, plus the 1 to take care of the replacement. And of course, with every replacement, there's cost savings. And I know, that's what we've been preaching all about, fulfilling the obligation of that levy.
And it's really been, I've noticed it, and we have 4 officers that have been sworn in very recently, and we always talk about this, but it takes a while to get people trained and get them, so we can't just hire 10 at a time. We have to bring them in a few at a time. But I'm already noticing, and I know a lot of residents have talked with me, that they notice the more of a presence of the cars on the road, which is exactly what we want to do.
Right.
Right, yeah, it's interesting. What's also been very nice is when we do the swearing-ins, how many current officers show up to show their support for these young officers that are going to soon be part of their ranks. And it's nice to look out when we do a swearing-in and see 10, 15, 20 of our current officers and family members there to make support of the groups.
And if you see anybody out there, the police car with 2 officers in it, we have 4 people going to be in training as of actually yesterday. So if you see doubled up officers, you know that one of them's in training. And as soon as they're ready on the road, those other 3 will be, riding along.
So if you see one of our new police officers and you happen to see them out, just welcome them and tell them, thank them for what they do for the township, because I think this is a really exciting time.
And then, Tom, you mentioned we had
Speaking of swearing-ins, also in the month of November, we'll be swearing in a replacement firefighter. Brock Bailey is joining our fire department. He'll be sworn in November. Brock's coming to us, I believe he's from Sebring, and has been with the Sebring Fire Department for 8 or 9 years. So he's got quite a bit of experience, and has decided that he wants to, and it's a part-time position in Sebring, and he wants to be a full-time firefighter. And upon interviewing him, we were all impressed. So we'll be swearing him in, keeping our numbers where we've agreed to with our union and with a grant that we received from the federal government to help us defray some of those expenses at 38 firefighters.
Right, and that grant, if you remember, we took they paid for 3 firefighters, their salary for 3 years, the equipment, and really our only obligation was to maintain the number that we put in for, that we said that was necessary in Boardman, and we have an obligation until at least next year.
That's correct.
And our goal is to try to keep everything up and running as best that we can. And we're pretty good financially in a situation right now that we're able to, start working on capital programs in Boardman, and that's demolition programs. We're gonna be looking at some road projects. We're looking at some road grants because there's some things that have kind of been set aside really over the years. So we're going to try to work on those capital projects now.
Well, you were talking about, since we're talking about safety services, it's probably a good opportunity also to talk about the official movement that we've made in forming a COG, or a Council of Government, with Austintown in regards to our new radio system.
Right.
And I think this is exciting because I think, again, Boardman showing a leadership role because of some changes in the federal laws, that we were going to have to upgrade our radio systems, and everybody around this area are going to have to upgrade their radio systems, and it could be pretty costly. So what we did was we joined with Austintown Township to buy a radio system, and our share did not cost the taxpayers any money, because we were able to use some grant money and also the money that we got from seizures of some of the drug issues that we've had. And so because of that, we're able to have this new radio system. But more importantly, I think we're going to see other communities wanting to buy into this system, and it can become a regional system.
Right, I already think we have a couple of communities that have given us a call about entering into our COG. And basically, if they enter in with us, there'll be a fee to offset the costs that we've put into the infrastructure of this radio system. And so it'll come back to Boardman.
Right. Mill Creek Park has already asked to be and will be a part of the system from day one. But we've had several other communities who've looked into becoming a part of the COG, and part of it is there's a federal mandate that the systems need to be upgraded by the end of 2013, and it's so expensive, as we found out with Austintown, that we've made that commitment. We've taken that leadership role in the county, and now we've got other communities wanting to be a part of it. And several have come in, they've looked at what we've done, they're looking forward to us going live here in the very near future with that new system, and then maybe coming in and being a part of it.
I think they flipped the switch, and now it's the let's work out the bugs kind of thing. So they flipped the switch, it's up and running, it's there. It's just we're not utilizing it 100% right now until the radio system that we hired to come in and kind of work on those. We don't want any glitches out there as far as communication with the officers out there on the road. And
communication is so important, and kind of reminds me that one of the things that we're doing is, again, working very closely with the school system and BSTN to talk about how we can better communicate. And I think people who watch Channel 19 have noticed the ability now for the scrolling that you see on your television set, and that now allows the township to have direct access to BSTN for emergencies, to be able to scroll things if we have unfortunately any snow problems this year, or any other natural disasters, or any other issues that people would need to know about.
Well, and that was just used this past couple weeks with Halloween, when the weather turned so bad as a result of Hurricane Sandy, and the rain and the wind was predicted for Halloween night. we were able to make a decision for safety for our children to change Halloween from October 31st. We moved it back to that Saturday, and that scrolled on Channel 19, as well as the calls through the school system and as much media outlet as we could get.
Right. And I don't think there was two. I think someone told me they had one trick-or-treater on Halloween, and they told them, it's Saturday, and I think the person was kind of happy because they had a few pieces of candy already.
Go twice.
Yeah,
Why
so
not?
they got a little double dip in there on Saturday. So I know there was a lot of people out there trick-or-treating on Saturday. So, hopefully the decision, the goal of the decision was to do the right thing to make sure the safety of the kids. Could we have done it on that day?
Yeah.
Probably,
And I think that's a bottom line. Like you said, we just wanted to do the right thing for the kids, and we were looking out for their safety. So
Right, and I'd rather have erred on the side of caution to say, oh boy, we didn't do it. So one of the other good things that happened in October was that one of our residents, and he also had students come through here, is Dr. Thomas Albany. He was awarded the Outstanding Doctor in Ohio last year. Name got submitted, and he was actually selected as the outstanding doctor in the country. And we had an opportunity to bring him and his family in and honor him with a proclamation. He gave us a few words and talked a little bit about some of the things he's done. Not only is he the doctor to many people, he started a free clinic, and he does teaching. He's just involved in so many ways in the medical field. So we were so honored that one of our residents was a national winner of Doctor of the Year. I mean, how often would that happen?
it's huge, and I think that it also reminds us to tell anyone out there that there are people like Dr. Albany,
Right.
who they just go to work every day. They're working really hard. They represent Boardman in such a positive way. And there are a lot of other people out there that are like that are kind of unsung people. So if anyone knows anyone out there that you want us to recognize, we love being able to do proclamations and bringing people into the township and recognizing the work that they do every day.
Well, I mean, we've recognized, there was a gentleman, he's a graduate of Boardman years ago, Dr. Chinkelis. He doesn't live here anymore, but he's constantly doing things for the schools, the park system. One of his colleagues from Boston sent us a letter saying, that's all he talks about is Boardman Township. And we got this letter, and we said, boy, we got to do something here, because here's an individual that hasn't forgot where he was from. And again, there's all kinds of stories like that. So please bring it to us, and we'll be happy to get the information, bring their family, friends in, honor them, make that their day, and...
Well, as we've said, we like to celebrate our successes, and the successes are that of Boardman residents.
Right.
And if we have the ability to acknowledge that and to highlight that and let more of the community know some of the hard work that these folks are doing, I think that's a wonderful thing.
And really, the last thing I want to talk about at the closing of the show is that, Larry, we have somewhere around December 1st. We haven't picked a date, but we're going to do something very special at the Township Center, if you want to.
Yeah, this is exciting. I know we have Thanksgiving coming up, and we certainly want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And it is a time for us to give thanks for everything that we have here in Boardman. But we also wanted to kind of do something a little bit special as the holiday season was coming up, and we saw some things that the park has done and some other communities have done. So with some leadership locally and some people who've stepped up, we are very excited to be lighting up the township building this year with lights for the holiday season.
And I think that switch is going to go off on December, but I think we're going to have something formal. And Tommy, remember we went to Boardman Park last year and we enjoyed that.
We went to Boardman Park last year for the lighting of the Christmas tree there, and I know whatever we do at the township, we're going to coordinate with the park.
Right.
So that, once again, we set the tone for the holiday season collectively for Boardman, Ohio.
Okay. Well, that really concludes everything for the November edition of Boardman Outlook, and we'll be back in sometime in December to give you another update on everything that's going on in Boardman Township. Have a good day.